what if the absolute best thing you could do, like at a dead end in your life, is to completely abandon rational thought?
I mean, it sounds terrifying, right? But yes.
Right, because we live in an era where we are just completely obsessed with optimizing everything. You've got your habit trackers, your 5-year career plans, your algorithms calculating the fastest route to work.
Yeah, we're constantly trying to logically engineer our way to this flawless life.
Exactly. We are terrified of making a mathematically or logically incorrect choice.
Yeah.
But today's source material argues that this relentless logical deduction is exactly what's making you miserable.
It creates massive decision fatigue. We end up carrying this immense psychological weight because, well, we treat every single choice as a variable in an equation that we just have to perfectly solve.
Yeah, which is why this deep dive is going to feel like a massive reset button for the modern overburdened mind.
Yeah.
We are exploring this really profound dual framework for living.
Right, outlined by Su Feng in a text titled Unshakable and Following One's Nature.
Yes. And the mission here is to map out this exact friction, figuring out the fundamental truths we must lock in as completely unshakable, and then identifying the areas where we need to entirely let go and just follow our nature.
And what's fascinating is Feng synthesizes ideas from several different traditions here. He builds this very pragmatic roadmap for, avoiding mental burnout.
Because we all need that right now.
Seriously, the core promise is that if you can master this delicate balance between what is absolute and what is fluid, you can navigate the absolute chaos of daily life with a really grounded spirit.
But also with complete, unbothered flexibility.
Exactly.
But before we get to the flexibility part, we have to establish the anchor. If reverence and law form the heavy gravity of our duties, we really have to understand what doesn't move.
Right, the unshakables.
Yeah. Shuifeng starts at the very top, establishing this cosmic baseline. The ultimate truth of the universe, the way, or the Tao, is unmoving.
It's the ultimate constant.
Right. Furthermore, reverence for the greatest creator must remain absolutely unshakable. Regardless of whether you are, sitting in prosperity or suffering through hardship, heaven or hell.
And that cosmic reverence doesn't just hover in the abstract. It immediately anchors into the physical world.
Oh, how so?
Through an unshakable reverence for life. All living beings arise from the exact same source. That's the underlying mechanism here.
Wow, okay.
Empathy isn't just a nice moral suggestion. It's actually a required law of physics in this philosophy.
Yeah.
Because we share one source, you are essentially required to share in the joys and sorrows of all creatures.
So it's not just about other people.
No, it extends right down to the sun, the moon, the mountains, and even the insects that sustain our ecosystems.
That is where it gets really interesting for me, because the framework brings these massive cosmic constants right down into our living rooms.
It really does.
The philosophy establishes earthly and human constants that are just as unbreakable. Like filial piety is unshakable because parental love is as vast as the sky and earth. And surprisingly, adherence to human laws and regulations is also listed as an unshakable constant.
Which, might seem really counterintuitive for a philosophy that eventually advocates for total spiritual freedom.
Yeah, it feels like a contradiction. Why elevate human laws to the same level as cosmic gravity?
Well, because without a baseline moral infrastructure, flow just becomes destructive chaos. Laws maintain order by rewarding goodness and punishing evil.
Ah, I see.
It's basically a microscopic reflection of the Tao's macroscopic order. And you cannot compromise on love either.
Right, loving others as yourself.
Exactly. A universal truth taught by Jesus, Buddha, and Laozi. It remains an absolute structural pillar.
And this is the friction that I found so fascinating. You'd think a framework with such strict, unshakable rules would be incredibly puritanical.
Right, like no fun allowed.
Exactly. But it actually demands that we prioritize pleasure and joy with the exact same absolute strictness.
Yes, enjoying affection is an unshakable constant.
Like the loyalty of friends, the bond between siblings. It even explicitly frames enjoying sexual love as a constant, describing it as a divine, ecstatic gift.
It's quite literally framed as heaven's law. It completely validates the entirety of the human experience.
It really does. It removes the guilt from pleasure by categorizing it as a structural requirement.
And all of these constants, the reverence, the empathy, the laws, the pleasure, they serve a singular mechanism.
Which is the evolution of the self, right?
Exactly. Shuifeng builds this universe on a strict hierarchy of 18 distinct levels of human quality.
18 levels. I mean, that is quite the climb.
It really is. Humans start in states of ignorance and worldliness. But by locking in these unshakable constants, we evolve through mortal stages.
with the potential to eventually become sages, celestials, Buddhas, or gods.
Yes. This pursuit of a perfected life, of immortality, is described as being like water cutting through stone.
Okay, let's pause on that image for you, the listener. Think of these unshakable constants as the gravitational pull of a planet.
That's a good way to look at it.
You can't wake up in the morning and decide to just opt out of gravity. Gravity is the unshakable force that keeps you from floating off into the freezing void of space.
Right.
It's what allows you to actually walk around and build a life. These constants are the gravity of the human spirit.
It's a great analogy, but here's where gravity becomes incredibly dangerous. If you don't know how to walk, gravity is what pulls you down and breaks your legs.
Oh, wow, that's a vivid picture.
A rigid adherence to constants without knowing how to move through the world just results in you crashing into things. That's why the second half of this framework is so urgent.
Which brings us to the radical pivot,
Yeah.
following one's nature.
Yes.
If the first half was about the anchor, this half is about how you actually navigate the terrain of a highly unpredictable Tuesday afternoon.
To set this up, the philosophy asks you to view the universe as possessing a boundless heart, where everything is placed perfectly, by the way.
You are a drop of water in the sea.
Yeah.
You are a single cloud in the sky.
Right. To move with the way, you have to flow with it. But to do that, Shuofeng delivers a warning that runs directly counter to everything modern society teaches us.
Which is?
Do not rely on experience, reason, logical deductions, or scientific experiments to navigate your personal path.
And I have to push back hard here.
Go for it.
Because for you, the listener, who might be prepping for a board meeting or trying to figure out a mortgage rate, being told to completely abandon rational thought sounds insane.
It definitely sounds counterproductive.
The philosophy says that when you are at a crossroads or a dead end, you should abandon your intellect entirely and listen strictly to the guidance of your inner spirit.
To decide whether to go up, down, left, or right.
But how is this intuition any different from just impulsiveness? How do we know we're tapping into the universe and not just making a terrible, irrational decision because we're stressed out?
That is the ultimate friction of modern life. But we have to look at the underlying mechanism of logic versus intuition here.
Okay, break that down.
Logic relies entirely on past data, your experiences, your spreadsheets, but the present moment is entirely new and incredibly complex.
Right.
Our intellectual minds are microscopic compared to the formless, adapting intelligence of the universe. When you hit a dead end and try to logically force a solution, you are operating out of fear.
Oh, I see.
Impulsiveness is driven by panic. You are trying to force an outcome. True intuition is the absence of that fear.
But practically speaking, how does abandoning the spreadsheet not just end in total financial or career ruin?
Because the spreadsheet is rigid. When the variables of reality change, the spreadsheet breaks and you break with it.
That makes sense.
Relying on intuition taps into a deeper alignment with the reality of the present moment. Zen truths adapt.
So it's about flexibility.
Yes. When you stop trying to outthink the ocean and just feel the current, you stop breaking against reality. True wisdom may appear foolish to the hyperlogical mind because it doesn't follow a linear, predictable path.
Okay, I can see the difference between panicking and flowing. It's about recognizing when logic has reached its absolute limit.
Exactly.
So if intuition trumps logic when we're in the flow, how do we apply this to the everyday, practical frictions we all face, like our careers or dealing with difficult people?
The application here is shockingly pragmatic. Take success and failure. The instruction is simply to follow your nature.
Because blessings and misfortune constantly hide within one another.
Yes. What your logical brain categorizes as a total disaster might be the very mechanism that sets you up for your greatest success.
So you just have to trust it.
The creator's arrangements are always in your best interest, even if the spreadsheet says otherwise.
And the career advice is literally the complete opposite of modern hustle culture.
Oh, entirely.
It says to choose your path based on what flows naturally. What comes most easily is the most precious, and what flows naturally is what is meant for you.
Right.
We're so conditioned to believe that if we aren't grinding ourselves into dust, we haven't earned our success.
But this philosophy argues that if a path requires constant, brutal forcing, it lacks foundational support. It's a false path.
That is such a relief to hear. And it applies that exact same frictionless approach to where you choose to live or travel.
Go where the wind blows. If a plane arrives, take the plane. If a carriage arrives, take the carriage.
Just pop on whatever shows up.
Exactly. Wherever you happen to end up, root yourself there and blossom.
Just bloom wherever the wind drops your seed.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the tough stuff. What about adversity and confronting actual evil?
Right, that's where people usually get stuck.
The text says, when facing hardship, do not force yourself to exceed your limits.
Mm-hmm.
And when confronting evil, it explicitly says to follow your nature and listen to your spirit.
Sometimes that means fighting back.
But sometimes it means retreating, like a turtle shrinking its head. And crucially, do not be led by anger or hatred.
We often equate retreating with cowardice. We have this ego-driven narrative that we must conquer every obstacle.
Right. I was thinking about this in the context of a deeply toxic workplace.
Oh, perfect example.
Say you have a manipulative boss or a team that thrives on drama. Your ego and your logic will scream at you like, I have to stay and fight this. I have to prove I'm right and fix this culture.
You feel responsible for fixing it?
Yeah. But pulling your head into your shell like that turtle, quietly doing your job, completely disengaging from the toxicity, isn't cowardice.
Not at all. It's a profound act of self-preservation. Look at the thermodynamics of anger.
Thermodynamics of anger. I love that.
Think about it. When you charge forward into a toxic battle driven by hatred, you are expending massive amounts of spiritual and physical energy.
You're just draining your own battery.
Exactly. Advancing in the wrong direction takes you further from the truth. But retreating correctly, pulling back into your shell, conserves your life energy. It returns you to your true nature.
It's conserving your energy so you can actually continue your pursuit of those 18 levels rather than burning out on a useless fight.
Precisely.
And this idea of letting natural reactions govern us extends to how we interact with the opposite sex, too.
Yes, the philosophy notes that attraction and repulsion are just natural physiological and spiritual reactions based on different structures.
So we should just let them arise naturally without overanalyzing them.
Right. It all points toward a state of radical acceptance.
Radical acceptance of our physical reality and our unique place in the ecosystem.
It advocates for embracing physical inputs without any force, whether the food you naturally gravitate toward is sour or sweet, vegetarian or meat.
Or whether you naturally choose to smoke or drink.
Right. Embrace whatever comes without forcing it. It completely removes the moral panic from our daily physical consumption.
And it extends that radical acceptance directly to our identities, which is incredibly liberating. It points out that humans naturally exist at different levels.
Some are ignorant, some are worldly, some are wise.
But it doesn't judge those differences. It uses this brilliant biological metaphor. Bees make honey and mice dig burrows.
Such a great image.
Right. At birth, foundational traits like our height, our level of beauty, and our innate talents are already determined.
It's a form of biological and spiritual determinism that actually frees you from the burden of infinite potential.
It's exhausting trying to be everything all the time.
The philosophy warns against losing your sense of place. A bird flies in the sky. A fish swims in the water.
And if a bird tries to swim or a fish tries to fly, it leads directly to madness.
We are warned not to envy the talented or covet the wealthy. We are told to sweep the snow in front of our own door and mind our own business.
The madness, the swimming bird. I love that. It's so easy to look at someone else's life, their money, their relationships, their career, and think, I need to do whatever they are doing.
But if you are fundamentally a mouse trying to make honey, you are going to be absolutely miserable.
You have to accept your burrow. This ancient wisdom is the ultimate cure for FOMO, fear of missing out.
It really is.
By accepting that we don't have to force our reality to match someone else's, we stop wasting our vitality fighting our own nature.
Which brings us to the culminating metaphor of this entire framework.
Let's hear it.
Enjoy bodily and spiritual freedom by eating ripe peaches when they fall and tasting apricots when they are ready. Forced fruit is never sweet, and forced paths are never smooth.
That perfectly bridges the two halves of this deep dive. You have the unshakable laws of nature. A peach tree will only produce peaches.
Right.
That requires gravity, earth, and time. That is the unshakable core, like water cutting through stone. You cannot rush or compromise your foundational values, your reverence for life, or your empathy.
Exactly. But the execution of your life, the actual moment you interact with that tree, must be entirely fluid.
Eating the peach when it naturally falls into your hand without you having to rip it from the branch.
The philosophy specifically warns against stubbornly clinging to outdated rules, reminding us that mountains move, rivers flow, and life thrives on movement.
Change is the only constant, as they say.
If you are rigid in your daily actions, the friction will literally break you. But if you are willing to move with the endless change of life, there is boundless joy.
So what does this actually mean for you listening right now? It means you have permission to just Put down the clipboard.
Drop the spreadsheets.
You do not have to logically deduce every single step of your day. And you don't have to force outcomes that simply aren't ready to happen yet. You have your unshakable gravity.
You know what your core values are.
You know you must operate with love and reverence. The rest is just navigating the wind.
And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over on your own.
Oh, Weirdy.
We've talked extensively about how forced fruit is never sweet, and how this ancient philosophy warns against using sheer logical force to dictate your life.
Right.
But think about the world we live in today. We are surrounded by algorithms and AI designed to predict our desires, optimize our routines, and effectively act as digital greenhouses.
Just trying to force our peaches to ripen year-round, on demand.
Exactly.
Wow, we are literally outsourcing our flow to machines.
We are. So look at your own life. What happens to your uniquely human intuition, your ability to naturally navigate the wind when a machine is constantly predicting and optimizing your natural path for you?
That's a chilling thought.
Are you actually following your nature, or are you just following the algorithm's forced harvest? Take some time to think about where your true intuition ends and where the forced optimization begins.